All right, good evening, everyone. This begins the public hearing for the May 13th, 2021 City of Rochester Zoning Board of Appeals hearing. And at this time, I will turn it over to the Zoning Board Chair.
Great, thanks, Matt. Hold on. Okay, it says I can't minimize my screen because we're recording, so hold on. Okay, that's new.
It's your new computer.
Nah, it's Zoom. It says I can't minimize because it's recording. That's weird.
Oh.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. For over a decade. See, I'm already starting off wrong. Wow, I'm losing it already. So for over a year, we've been conducting our zoning board meetings virtually, as authorized by the State of New York Disaster Emergency Declaration and executive orders. The local emergency orders issued by the mayor of the city of Rochester and amendments to the zoning board rules and procedures. Primarily, these orders and amendments waive the requirements for any in-person attendance at this hearing and permit us to hold this hearing by teleconference, allow applicant presentations by teleconference, and allow public comments to be submitted by email, by hard copy document mailed to the zoning office, or deposited in the secure drop box located in the link entrance or in the permit office of City Hall, or by call-in to the hearing. Written public comments and requests to schedule the call-in comments were all required to be submitted by 5 p.m. yesterday. Although the conduct of this hearing has been altered, many things remain the same. All the normal notifications for this hearing, including mail notice, publication, and the posting of the notices, were all followed. All the normal timeframes for applicant presentations and public comments remain the same. The normal staff report was prepared and posted on the city's website. And most importantly, this board will hear, review, and make decisions about all the applications with the same diligence and using the same standards as required by the zoning code. Before we begin, I would like to explain the ground rules of the hearing. When a case is called, the applicant will have 15 minutes to present their case to the board. The applications and full staff reports were posted on the city's website at least a week ago and were available for the public to review. As the application is being presented, staff will identify and show the page of the application that the applicant is addressing. Following our normal procedure, the board members may ask the applicant questions about their application. After the applicant's presentation is complete, any scheduled call-in comments will be heard, and staff will read into the written record comments that were submitted after the staff report was posted on the city's website. Comments will be limited to 10 minutes if submitted by a neighborhood association, and 3 minutes for individuals, and the reading of submitted comments will be summarized to fit within these timeframes. If multiple written submissions repeat the same comments, staff will summarize those comments. After the call-in comments have been heard and written comments have been read, the applicant will have 5 minutes to provide rebuttal testimony. This is new and I didn't read it beforehand, so I apologize. At the conclusion of the applicant's rebuttal, the case will be closed. After completing all of the hearings on the agenda tonight, the board may take a short break, which will be announced. After the break, the board will commence deliberations and voting on all applications, except any application that has been adjourned to another meeting. Please note that if your case is approved today, a written decision will be mailed to you within 15 business days. The decision will inform you of the next steps to complete the approval process. Before we open the first case, please note that we all are volunteers. I would like each of the board members to affirm their presence for purpose of a roll call and to establish a quorum for this hearing and to introduce themselves and mention their area of expertise. So we'll start with you, Jim.
Good evening. My name is Jim Best. I live in the northwest quadrant of the city. I've been involved with telephone engineering and construction for just under 50 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Holly? You there, Holly?
Oh, I'm sorry. I froze, and then when I unfroze, I didn't know where we were.
Oh, go ahead and introduce yourself, your area of expertise.
I'm Holly Wheeler. I live in the southeast quadrant of the city, and I have worked in higher ed for 25 years.
Thank you. Cora?
I'm Cory Murphy. I'm in the northeast quadrant, and I'm a licensed real estate broker.
Lorraine?
Yes, Lorraine Jennings. I'm in marketing and communications, and I live in the East District.
And David?
David Carr. I live in the Northeast District. I'm a consulting and developer, and I've been on the zoning board for 6 years.
Great, and I'm Tyrese Bryant. I live in the southwest section of the city. I have a background in urban planning, and I work in real estate and land use development. And I will turn it over to Matt to get started, to introduce our cases.
Great, thank you. Let me get the document pulled up here. All right, our first case is a return case from the April 15th, 2021 zoning board hearing, file number V-049 2021. The applicant is the property owner, Giovanni Civelli, at 280 Klein Street, located in the R1 low density residential district. And the request is to install a 30-foot ham radio tower in the rear yard of a single family dwelling, not meeting the height requirement for detached accessory uses and structures. And we have Giovanni with us here.
Giovanni,
Hey,
how are you tonight? We're doing well, we're
Giovanni.
doing well. Let me swear you in and let you get started. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely.
15 minutes, the floor is yours.
Thank you guys for having me over. I'm sorry to hear about the background noise because I'm at work at this point, but I have nothing much, nothing new to say about my project. Like I said before, I'm just agreeing with the new terms that Matt emailed me, not to pass my achievement my achievement of the house height. So yeah, I should be around 25 feet. So I'm willing to go with that height. I don't know what else you guys want to ask me, or if you have any concern, because all the safety issues was already answered. Which is no regards whatsoever. Regarding the safety of the tower. So, if you guys have any questions or anything, just let me know.
Okay, we're gonna start and go around with questions. So Jim, why don't you go ahead? Any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chiavelli, we were talking after we heard the case last month about whether or not like insulation in the attic or metallic parts might block signals. How critical is it that you have to have this tower at least equal to your chimney or the top of your roof?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you say about the basement. You said
Now let's
metallic parts.
Let me put it this way. Let's say that your roof is 25 feet tall, and let's say you did a 20-foot tower on the east side of your house. Would that roof block your signal going to the west off your tower?
No, none whatsoever. It's a 360-degree antenna, so it'll take whatever is on the air.
So it will go right through the roof and continue west, etc.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
David, any questions?
No question.
Lorene, any questions?
No questions.
Cora, any questions?
No questions.
Holly?
No questions.
And I don't have any questions either. Matt, did we have any additional feedback that came in for this one?
No additional feedback and no public testimony for this.
Okay, great. Giovanni, we appreciate it. We're gonna close your case. Have a good night.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, and we will get started with case number 2. I'm sorry. Case number 2 is not being heard tonight. Was originally 951 Park Avenue. The agenda was updated to reflect that case is removed from the agenda, and there is no one here to speak on behalf of that case. So we will move on to case number 3, the final case tonight, file V-052 2021. The applicant is Matt Lester, CBL LLC and Winton and Blossom Partners LLC. The project addresses are 235, 237, 239, and 245 North Winton Road and 650-656 and 668 Blossom Road. All parcels are located in the C1 Neighborhood Center District, and the request is to construct a 4,117 square foot medical office building, Well Now Urgent Care, a 2,003 square foot drive-through restaurant, Starbucks, a 15,078 square foot office and retail building, and a 76 space parking lot not meeting the bulk requirements, certain non-residential mixed-use design standards, certain lot area and yard requirements, certain off-street parking requirements, and the drive-through not being a permitted use in the district. And there are a team of folks here tonight that I believe include Betsy, Evan, Matt. Betsy, Evan, and Matt, is that everyone for you tonight?
And then also Dean. Dean is in on the phone.
And Dean, so 4 people total.
Okay, great. Matt, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
Great. How's everybody doing? Good afternoon.
Good, good. I won't give you a hard time tonight, Matt. So we'll get through this. It's good to see you, my friend.
Thanks, you too.
Why don't you introduce everybody on the team and tell us what they do, and
Sure.
we'll get. You didn't have to bring a team with you, Matt. I get it. You may have been a little scary, man, but you didn't have to. But go ahead and introduce your folks. I swear, everybody.
I'm not meant to be intimidating. Just wanted to be prepared. With me tonight, I have Betsy Brugg from Woods, Oviatt, and Gilman. She's representing the entity through the zoning process, and we'll be making the presentation this evening. In addition, with Betsy, we have Evan Gaffel with Kostich Engineering. He was the engineer for the project that did the plan and everything that we've submitted.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have Dean with our architectural firm based out of Wisconsin. Dean is with Excel, and he can speak to any architectural questions that the board might have.
Okay, I'm gonna swear everybody in, and I'll need a response from everybody. So do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
I do. Yes.
I do.
All right, thanks everybody.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks everybody. So 15 minutes, Matt, you guys go however you want to do it. Go ahead. Go ahead,
Betsy,
Betsy.
I'll go on
All
mute.
right.
And I'll let you take it away. Thank you.
Okay, super. So 15 minutes, and we have a lot of material to go through. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at our full submission. We did try to address each and every element of each and every variance. I think the project was teed up nicely, and Matt has described what we're proposing. We're pretty excited about this project. As was said in the pre-meeting, some of you will remember that back around 2014 through 2016, Aldi came through the approval process. They were fully approved, ready to go, and ended up in court. The neighborhood was split over support for that project. And eventually Aldi walked away, leaving the property owner who had kind of put together this assemblage in a very difficult situation. He has been working diligently to find a project for this property, and we have documented the history of his marketing efforts, and I'll talk about the financial hardship, which I think is a big part of what you're looking at tonight. We're here on a use variance to allow only the drive-through. The rest of the project is all permitted uses. So the use variance is specific to allow Starbucks to have a drive-through. Starbucks will not build a store without a drive-through, and without Starbucks, we don't have a project. The other, really the only interest in this site over the past several years has really been unfortunately, from uses that are auto-related uses, such as service, Pep Boys and things like that, which I'll get into. It's been very difficult to redevelop the site. So to back up, the site was described to you. Maybe Matt, you're gonna put up the site plan and I'll quickly walk through and point out what all the variances are for everybody. Quickly summarize that. You see all the material in that application. There it is. Okay, so as you can see, there are, whoops.
Trying to rotate it, Betsy, give me 1 second.
Okay, no problem. So just to back up, so given the experience that the property owner had with the Aldi project, nothing has been proposed on this property that did not involve a engagement with the neighborhood from day one. So the neighborhood has been involved since before this particular iteration has come to you. They've been very involved in the development of this particular project as it stands. We have letters of support both from the North Winton Village Association and the Browncroft Neighborhood Association, and then from various individuals as well. And that process involved, they've had input into the architecture, the design, the uses. There was an earlier iteration, there was an attempt to try to explore getting some residential into a mixed use project. That was not economically viable and fell through. There have been a number of, all the various agencies have been involved. I believe this particular site plan application, I just looked at the EAF, it's dated December. So I think we've been in the site plan process since December. The project review committee has commented on it. There's a whole lot of people that have hammered on the design to get to where we are today. We were not able to even file this application until we had, kind of addressed everybody's comments along the way. So what you're looking at is the site plan. You've got Blossom sort of at the bottom of the screen. That is where you see the Starbucks and the kind of unusual curve on the driveway. Monroe County DOT, this kind of unusual configuration to the driveway was a requirement to satisfy Monroe County DOT. I know that there have been a number of neighborhood, some letters and comments specific to traffic. A full traffic analysis was done. It's been reviewed by County DOT. They required some changes. We made the changes. They are satisfied that there is not going to be any significant adverse impact on traffic from this project. Starbucks happens to be a largely pass-by use. I know that's hard to believe. It's also a neighborhood-friendly use in terms of the coffee shop, but the drive-through itself really it doesn't generate new traffic. It just takes traffic off the road in large part, just to kind of give you the sort of the summary of how the drive-through works. You see the two buildings, the new buildings proposed on Winton. What you see on the corner here is an existing gas station. That gas station, creates a challenge for developing, and working with the configuration of this property. The two new buildings just north of the gas station, that is an urgent care. Now urgent care is going to go there. And then the additional building north of that is proposed as a mixed use building. The idea being that having a strong tenant, a strong occupant like Starbucks, and having a now will enable the property owner, the developer, to have smaller neighborhood-friendly uses in this building. So they're going to be looking to get, retail, shops, restaurants, that type of thing in this building. And, we're providing parking. All the parking, as you can see, is located in the rear. There was a tremendous amount of attention put into making this a pedestrian-oriented, pedestrian-friendly site. The buildings on Winton are up on the street. They are designed to create an engaging streetscape. We have a little walkway, I think that was kind of between the two buildings. There's bike racks provided. There's pedestrian connectivity provided throughout. And although we are here for a drive-through for Starbucks, which is obviously a vehicular type of a aspect to the use, it is placed in the optimal location on the site. It is far to the west, opposite the CVS, which has a drive-through and a large parking lot of the former Tops / Aldi. So it is put in a place where it doesn't interfere with the views from North Winton Road. As you can see from the design of the drive-through, it is designed to avoid any interaction and conflict with pedestrian traffic on the site. So we have pedestrian connectivity throughout, but the drive-through itself is kind of contained in that section of the site, kind of away from North Winton Road, oriented to Blossom Road, oriented to the larger industrial and commercial uses and the larger parking lots and things that are more characteristic of Blossom Road, and allowing us to create an attractive, pedestrian type streetscape on North Winton Road. You will see so let's talk about the Starbucks, start there. So some of the area variances pertain to Starbucks. The front of the Starbucks faces Blossom Road. We have a setback variance, obviously, for the building. There is no way to avoid that. We need to do that to accommodate that drive-through, not just the drive-through lane, but the driveway that Monroe County DOT, the way they want it placed. We also have a front patio area. That patio area also has kind of a unique feature. The front of the building will have a walk-up service window. So every effort has been made to kind of mitigate and balance the use so that the Starbucks itself is as neighborhood friendly as possible. It's a place where people can come, they can go inside, they can sit outside, they can just walk up and get a cup of coffee through the walk-up window without having to go through a drive-through. The Variances are for the front setback, for the transparency on the front. A lot of effort has gone into the design of the architecture of the building, but we still do need a variance for transparency. And that's very simply that in order to have that walk-up window and the drive-through the way it's designed, somewhere there has to be that backroom operations area. So we have some limitations on what we can do with transparency. There's also, all of the parking is interior to the site. The only parking you will see in the front yard are these 2 spaces on Blossom Road. I know they look a little odd. They were located interior to the site. Starbucks requires a certain amount of parking in order to locate their store. I think everybody knows that they will bring visitors into the neighborhood. People will park and stay in the neighborhood. This is, a great neighborhood meeting place. People are going to park here and stay. They really need a certain amount of parking in order to commit to this location. They're looking at this as employee parking. It's not the optimal location for them. It ended up there because we needed to accommodate the comments from Monroe County DOT. And in having to relocate some parking spaces, that's the only place we could find them that seemed appropriate. Again, there are 2 parking spaces in the front yard when our neighbors in all directions on Blossom Road have, huge parking lots. So I don't think 2 spaces is going to make 1 iota of difference on the Blossom Road side of the site. Okay, let's talk about the other buildings and the other area variances. So we've got, we did the Starbucks, I think I got them all. Yeah, the urgent care. So both of the other buildings exceed the 3,000 square foot tenant minimum, tenant maximum space. The urgent care just needs the space in order for them to function and do what they do and provide the services they provide, which are a very, desirable type of, having medical in the neighborhoods, a very desirable amenity. They just need this, they need the space. The orientation of the building, as you can see, is deeper and it's kind of narrow on the front. A lot of attention has gone into the architecture of both of these buildings. The mixed-use building is a 2-story building. It's designed to accommodate a couple office business type uses on the 2nd floor, and the 1st floor can be broken up into, again, for retail and, neighborhood friendly type, approachable, pedestrian, accessible type uses. The urgent care, again, a lot of work went into the architecture, but they do have some issues with the glass requirements. So on the north and south sides, we have variances related to the amount of opaque or spandrel glass. And on the frontage, we have a variance for the amount of transparency for 58% where code requires 70 between the 2 and 8 feet. That specifically, again, they have, privacy issues, their medical use, there's exam rooms, there's pharmaceutical storage areas. There's just areas that require, privacy and security that, prevents them from having, transparent windows. The commercial office building, the only variance for that building is for the size of the spaces to exceed the 3,000 square feet. And the only site variance was the 2 parking spaces I talked about. As far as the use variance, I think that we have demonstrated that we meet all the criteria, but I'm just going to summarize for you kind of the economic, the financial hardship. And I should point out, if you have any questions, I know I'm talking fast, but I have a lot of material to get through. So I hope you'll give me a little time, since you have a very light agenda tonight, to make sure that I get you all the information that you need to decide this application. So the site has some history of financial hardship. Not only has the property owner been carrying all these costs, but a tremendous amount of money was expended on the Aldi project, the purchase of the property. As soon as there's a project proposed, the tenants start to leave. The buildings that were there, I know as much as some folks, I'm thinking back to that time, loved, at least one of the tenants that was there. None of those buildings were code compliant. There was an environmental issue with one of them that had been in auto use. So there was a significant amount of money spent on those properties to demolish, to do the environmental cleanup, to restore the property, to seed it. I think the total was nearly, let's see, with the hauling of the topsoil and everything and planting of the seeds, it was, I think, around $289,000 just on that piece. The acquisition of the property, approximately $900,000, I think a little bit under that. And then, there's taxes and insurance and maintenance of approximately $12,000 a month on that property. That does not include all the money spent on the development proposal and the litigation related to Aldi, which was tremendous. As far as the marketing, the property owner has been working diligently to market the property through Caliber Brokerage since before Aldi, I think since around the time that Aldi terminated their contract. There were 4 offers since 2016. One of them was for the entirety of the site. There was one just blanket offer from Morgan Acquisitions. They did their due diligence, and after realizing that they couldn't come up with a project, they terminated their contract and abandoned the property. The other offers were for a Mavis Tire, a Pep Boys, and then there was an offer for a Taco Bell for different pieces of the site. All of those would have required use variances. Again, they did look at a residential mixed use option. It was not economically viable, and that did not move forward. One of the issues, I know that there's a tremendous amount of interest in kind of small neighborhood type uses. I saw the neighbor opposition letters that have come in. There are folks who don't love the idea of having a Starbucks, a national company. The code does not regulate who the user is, but I think one of the things people don't realize in terms of the financial hardship is that new development is very, very costly. So to build a new restaurant is going to cost, I'll just use a number relative to like something like a Starbucks. The construction itself is in the $350 a square foot range, not including the acquisition of the property or the site preparation cost. That's just to like build the building. So that's a tremendous amount of money. If you look at, for example, some of the available space, there's tremendous amount of available space around the city. It's much more economically affordable for a small local business to go and occupy and acquire one of those existing spaces. I'm going to give you just an example of the Brighton, which sold recently. It's a 4,500 square foot building, and it sold for about $420,000, which equates to about $93 a square foot. So you really can't compete and expect that, a small, mom and pop neighborhood friendly shop is going to be able to come in and build a new building at, the cost of construction of new construction today. So at $350 versus $93, that's just a tremendous amount of difference. So I hope that kind of helps address that question. So in terms of who's in the marketplace, we did give you a letter from Caliber Brokerage, from Matt Lester, who's been in a commercial real estate professional for many, many years. He's worked with many, many national companies, local companies, regional companies. He's marketed all types of property. He's given you a letter kind of explaining who is active in the marketplace. Unfortunately, the types of businesses that are looking to build new construction in the market is relatively limited. And unfortunately, many of those are, auto repair type uses or restaurants with drive-throughs. So there's somewhat of a limited market. And given the amount of available vacant space, getting a tenant like Starbucks is really going to help. I mean, they're a neighborhood friendly use. A lot of people support this. A lot of people love Starbucks, and they help kind of stabilize the site. They bring people into the neighborhood, and they really help create kind of a healthy neighborhood environment, help stabilize the property, help stabilize the neighborhood. Let's see, as far as the other criteria for the use variance, I think we've demonstrated this is a unique property. You will not find another property like this. This is vacant land at a prominent intersection. The size is unique. The fact that it's vacant is unique. The zoning situation is unique. We have this gas station on the corner, which really kind of impacts your ability to kind of be creative with the assemblage there. So I think all of those aspects really make this a very unique property. You won't find another property suffering the same hardship in the neighborhood. As far as the essential character of the neighborhood.
You want to start rapping for me, Betsy?
Sure. I guess what I'll say is I have addressed all of this in writing. So,
and we as the board, we've reviewed it all in detail.
Okay. Yeah. So I will just remind you that, the drive-through itself, which is the most, the key item here, as far as the use variance, I think it's placed in the optimal location. Again, there's a drive-through right across the street. And I think the way the site has been designed, I think that the benefits, to the community from this project are, we've got a really attractive quality project with quality uses. I think we meet all of the legal standards, and I think we've done everything to avoid any adverse impact on the neighborhood from project. And we have a significant amount of community support. And with that, I will stop and let you ask whatever questions, and we're all here to answer whatever questions you have.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Matt wasn't able to offer tops enough for the site, I see. So that's the tough part where we are. So we'll get through and we'll start with Jim. Jim, go right ahead with your questions.
Back to me, huh? I've never been to a Starbucks, but then again, I've never had a cup of coffee in my life, so there's something wrong with me. Let me ask you a question. As I'm looking on the sketch. It's you had it up before, Matt, not for Starbucks, but the site and pavement marking plan, CA 110. That's the one. When you come off your new road, and you make a right turn to get into that line where you're going to order. You're going to order before you get up to where you pay. There's some kind of a board up there. It says a menu board.
Yeah, there's a menu.
Okay, so they order there, and they come up and they make their payment. I guess what I feel good about is that they're going to make a payment and come out and make a left turn and get on the access road out there. So I don't see too much of a problem for the 2 parking spaces that you identified before, because people are going to have to slow down, pay, get their stuff. I think there'll be some gaps over.
Those are employee parking spaces. Those are for employees, so there won't be people pulling in and out of there.
Well, I realize that, but the employees will throughout the day or whatever the case may be. You have no proposed tenants yet on the 2-story building. I dig it.
We're
working on it.
speaking with several. We don't have any commitments at this time.
Okay. The buildings to the south of that, the urgent care, you've got some parking spots up in front. Are any of those handicapped? I can't really tell from the drawing.
Yep.
Just curious.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There's handicap spots for each building on the site. Yep.
Okay. And the exit lane coming out, it borders the exit lane for the parking on the south side of Blossom Road. I can certainly see why Monroe County DOT try to get those to line up. It's a lot safer. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. David, any questions, sir?
For the Starbucks, because it's the main building, what is the capacity seating for the Starbucks? Because you say they will be having meetings, people can come sit. What's the seating capacity for the Starbucks? Like Jim, I haven't been in the Starbucks before. I've heard a lot about it.
We got to take Jim and David to a Starbucks.
Well, I will happily take them to this one if we're successful.
Matt, you can't make an offer like that to them. Come on, man. What are you doing? We'll reject that. We'll take that out of the record. Go ahead, David.
I'm kidding.
I just like to know the capacity of the seating, if there is any seating.
Does Dean have that?
I don't know if Dean does. They typically run about 36 to. Oh yeah, here we go.
I apologize. I missed that question.
I would just like to know the seating capacity for the Starbucks. Because like I said, I've never been in a Starbucks before, and I wanted to know is there a capacity?
Yeah, it's 35 to 40 is where they're at right now.
And this is a smaller version than is typical. This is 2,000 square feet. There's one under construction in Penfield at the moment over at 441 and Route 250. That's actually 2,500 square feet. So that's significantly larger by a percentage. So they minimized their seating area here. They also added a walk-up window, which is very rare. No, there is not a current Starbucks in Monroe County, to my knowledge, that has a walk-up window. And they also have outdoor patio seating. So they've really tried to fit the character of the community of the neighborhood here to make this one work.
Or you're making it more walkable so people can walk.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's all.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
Thank
Lorraine,
you.
go right ahead with your questions.
I just have a comment. I lived in the Pacific Northwest in Portland and been to Seattle and actually worked for Starbucks way back in marketing, and they really do their research. They're a great coffee place. So I think it's a good project that you're putting together here. I think they're also putting one over at, oh no, that's in Brighton on Monroe Avenue. So anyhow, yeah. It's
Thank
good.
you, Lorraine.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Cora, any questions?
I think most of my questions were answered in the presentation. I think there may be a walk-up window in a Starbucks on Ridge Road in Arundequoit, but I could be making that up. They have like a little patio too. I don't think I have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Holly, any questions?
I just have I don't know, more information about traffic. So turning onto Blossom from the gas station obviously is complicated because that's just such a weird spot for a gas station and it's super close to the light. On CV, coming out of CVS, sometimes that's challenging. But my bigger concern is there's that light by the side street, Gale, maybe, I can't remember what it's called there, right where the Liberty restaurant is, and it's only like half a parking lot away from the main corner at Blossom and Winton. And in between those two lights, sometimes traffic gets really backed up. And so then it continues further north on North Winton. And I'm just concerned about the additional traffic that will occur. I know at one point you said that Starbucks doesn't add traffic. It just sort of takes the traffic that was already there and, routes it through. But then you also said twice that Starbucks brings people to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I know that, the DOT did their thing, but can you just kind of tell me a little bit more about the traffic issue there?
Okay, so our traffic consultant is not on, but Evan Gaffel from Costage is on. And I will defer to Evan in a minute, but I think, I did have a conversation with our traffic engineer today, a little bit about kind of how things work here. And I should correct myself. There is a good percentage of the Starbucks traffic is pass-by traffic, but not all of it. I believe that the expectation is it's typically up to 70 or 80%, while a typical restaurant would be a lower percentage and would have much more additional traffic as a destination. But certainly, from my own personal experience, I think we all know what it's like to go to a coffee shop. They did look at the delay times. There are some delays in the neighborhood. And what was done here is we can't fix the traffic problem that's there. There are traffic issues, but people become regular visitors to the site and they kind of develop their own habits of, they sort of learn how to work through the intersection and how their, traffic patterns get settled from the practice and the habits that people form. So the expectation is that people will figure out how best to access and maneuver through the intersection, but they did study the intersection.
Betsy, if you don't mind, I could chime in
Sure.
and help answer Holly's question. So the two things we looked at in great lengths with the county were where to locate the curb cuts, the ingress and the egress for the property. And what the county advised us and the traffic engineer supported is we put the curb cut into the property on Winton to the furthest point away from the traffic light to help eliminate any congestion or choke point that could be caused by stacking at that light. I think that's specifically what you're asking about is how do we take into consideration the mitigation of those, the stacking at the light. So that's the absolute best anyone at any time could do with this property. We put the curb cut at the furthest point to the north to help eliminate that congestion pattern. The second thing we did, and this is more strategic for the Starbucks location, it's a heavy morning use. As we all know, coffee, even though some of us don't drink coffee on the call, coffee is mainly consumed in the morning. This was strategically located on Blossom because the traffic we're trying to capture for Starbucks is heading westbound into the city on the morning commute and into work. So what you find here for I think more of a frequented movement is a right traffic turn in and then a right traffic turn out. That shouldn't have any impact on the traffic light at Winton and Blossom. That's going to be a pass through, a straight through movement. We anticipate will be a right in, circulated with plenty of car stacking, and then a right movement out and continued on their morning commute path into the city. So those are two things we feel will be beneficial and strategic on how we design the site and where we place Starbucks as well as the curb cuts on the site. And then the county did comment which they felt, and we all agree, the curb cuts should align with CVS because for those left turn movements, they won't conflict and everyone will have a nice functional turn either north or south at that junction. So hopefully that answered your question.
It did. That was exactly what I needed. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Can I jump back in with one more quick question?
Go right ahead, Cora.
Is there an option to exit if you're already in the Starbucks line? Is there an option to exit from the line, or is it? I'm just trying to see where the cars are lined up in the image.
Yeah,
You mean a bypass?
There's no bypass. Just we had site constraints. That was detailed back and forth with Starbucks. So this is the final design we.
So you're in line, you're committed. You're not getting out of line, right?
You're getting your coffee. Yeah.
Right. It's a very good cup of coffee. You make that commitment and you go for it.
No panicking, no escaping the line. And then really quick, about how many cars it looks like I counted about 11. Is that accurate? About 11 cars?
This shows 11, and then if that were to increase, we have plenty of internal circulation within the site before there's ever a glimmer of overflow into the street.
Right. Okay.
And typically you don't get to see stacking set up like this. Usually it's, in between the parking stalls and whatnot to make it fit on the site. So
and typically their car stack, that they will say they're comfortable with is 8. So this is something they're very happy about, to get so much additional stacking.
Yeah, I've been in parking lots where there's a Starbucks and it's just the parking lot is congested and hard to maneuver, and this actually looks a little, minus the fact that you can't escape the line, that it's a little easier to maneuver. So thank you for that.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you. Just out of my own curiosity, Evan, when you guys were talking to Starbucks with the concerns of and discussions with the drive-through, did you have the discussion about having 2 queuing lines? Just curious in terms of, I get the argument of that it backs up inside of the development. I think we all have driven by a Starbucks in the morning. My concern would be the walkability to the well care, the walkability to whatever those future uses are. Those future uses could be restaurant uses, small shop uses, which could create a lot of traffic. If there's a small, consignment shop, it could be a busy weekend mornings. So you're having people walk in that development and kind of seeing a stacked line. If it's well care at its peak time, I'm not too worried about well care, just because it's not one of the busier. It's not like the U of R's or Rochester Regional Health urgent cares. No shots to well care, but that's just the truth about their operations. They're just not as busy as the other two. So just what was the conversation about why you guys couldn't get more cars into a queue and kind of maneuver that garbage can a little bit?
Increase the stacking capacity?
Yeah, and trying to get them out of the development. Yeah. There's no question the development's gonna be stacked in the morning. We all know what Starbucks does.
So when we designed the entire site, we kind of looked at that as a compromise to also what did we benefit by adding 2, 3, 4 more cars in a stack? What we would have to do is elongate that north, and then what that would do is eliminate some of the parking. So this is like our 30th iteration of our plan to hit that happy medium where we have enough parking to satisfy, just like you said, the customers going into the stores, but also enough stacking to satisfy a busy car stack. So this is kind of where we kind of felt that balance was met. If we were to increase the stack, we would lose parking, and then they didn't want that either. They needed to maintain the balance of enough parking on site to accommodate all the uses, but then also enough car stack. So hopefully that answers.
Yeah, it does. I was just curious. Just want to make sure. I like to flush out a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Because the public may have some of the same questions.
Yeah.
Another question I have: what's the plan for? Because when I was out there, it looks like Tops has pretty much chain link fence around their kind of property, their parcel. What's the plan for buffering, fencing, landscaping around the Tops piece? And what's also the plan in terms of in between the Tops and the building B from the Witten frontage? Because obviously there's a proposed walkway from Witten to the rear of the development. Will pedestrians be able to walk? Is that going to be grass area where pedestrians could walk through? I just want to make sure that we're mitigating any future safety concerns along that side of the building as well. Obviously I want to make sure it's a walkable site and, not fence everything up, but I just want the public may have those questions as well, because
the area
there may be concern.
The area that you're alluding to south of the Well Now Urgent Care's wall between the Tops, that will be grass, from what I understand. Evan, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Yep. So that will be grass. And then we don't have the landscape plan with us, but it is pretty extensive. We've received compliments from the city as we've gone through this process, but the main corridor between the buildings with the sidewalk, will be planted. There'll be planted plants in front of the well now. And then, it's pretty heavily planted along the parking area on the interior space, just to create, soften the feel and make that, that trip, that pedestrian walk more enjoyable. And there's a pretty good amount of planning on the Blossom side as well. And I think that's going to help bring the pedestrians in.
Yeah. So to get more to getting into my question a bit more. So in between that south side of the well care between Tops, so that side will just be open, so pedestrians could just walk through the grass to the rear.
There'll be landscaping as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's no fence. I guess if the question is related to a fence or barrier, that we will not be.
Okay.
Right.
And what are you doing around the main parcel of the Top? Are you leaving Tops existing fence around? So, around the parking lot, around the entire Tops piece, what's the plan there? Is that going to be fenced or just landscaped with trees?
So we can't do anything on their parcel, obviously.
But on your parcel, that's what
on our parcel, it will remain as shown. We have nose to head to toe, or whatever you want to call it, bumper to bumper stack parking, which we needed to maintain to get the calculations to satisfy all the folks on
so there's 4 parallel parking spots up against their property on that western divider line. But I would say, that's half of the property line for the Tops. The rest of it is planted
grass,
and it has a buffer. It has trees. It has grasses. So I would say the majority, what would be visible would be directly behind the gas station building itself. So your view from Witten, would be on either end will be bookshelved with landscape and buffer.
And I guess thanks guys, appreciate that. My only last comment, I made it in our pre-meeting, was I would just have you guys, it's nothing I can do in zoning, but I think they mentioned in terms of the photometric levels in between building B and building C. I think Tom from City Planning had mentioned that you were looking at about twos along that way. I would just have you guys really think about upping those light levels in between that walkway. You really may want to try to hit some 3s and 4s, especially at night. Light, as we say in my business, light deters crime. So you guys I just had you think about that a bit more. It's nothing I can do in zoning about it, but just think about that more. But this looks like a really great project. And I'm going to be happy to support it. So Matt, do we have any public calling comments? Or I know we have comment to read into the record. Do we have any call-in comment?
So Tyrese, yes, we have two folks on the line. So I can bring in the first one, who is Mary Coffey. So I'll bring her in now.
Great, great.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you now.
I'm sorry, hold on one second. Not yet on the public comment. I need to do two things. My audio went out for a second. First, my apologies for the quality. I thought I put the original documents in the one I was going to put on the screen tonight, and you got the photocopies, so they're a little blurry. My apologies. The second thing I need to do is ask about board member visiting the site. Did any board members here tonight not visit the site? Just let me know. Okay, so all of the board members present tonight have visited the site for tonight's case. Thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and read the public comment, and then we'll do the call-ins. Bear with me. I'm going to rotate this. And full screen. Okay. So there were a number of comments in the staff report publication, one from the Browncroft Neighborhood Association, one from the North Whitten Village Neighborhood Association, and then 3 residents. And then I'm going to read the comments that came in since the staff report went on the website, and these comments are also posted on the website and the board has read them. To whom it may concern, I am in full support of the proposed project, including the inclusion of Starbucks. I hope we can bring back Jim's Diner in one of these retail restaurant spaces. And this comment comes from Jennifer Green Wilson. This one comes from Erica Wilson. Good afternoon. My name is Erica Wilson. I grew up in the Browncroft neighborhood and the owner of a duplex on Blossom Road. This email is in regards to the proposed construction of a mixed media building, my apologies, within the Whitten Blossom Road area. I support this construction. In fact, I have been suggesting the idea amongst my family and friends for several years. Sad I wasn't the first one to suggest to the city. I think that it's a great use of the space for retail and residential. My only against is for Starbucks. I would rather promote local and offer Canaletown Roasters a spot to relocate their location across from Wegmans. I would prefer not to have a brand mega company take over our local vibe. Other than that, I feel it is a total go ahead and would love to watch the construction as it occurs. To the Rochester Zoning Board, we do not want to see this development go through at Whitten and Blossom. There's a good reason that drive-thrus are not allowed in the district. It's called North Whitten Village, not North Whitten Strip Mall. We really ought to be bringing back a less suburban and more neighborhood feel to this area, like the last approved proposal. No single-story little boxes and drive-thrus creating even more traffic and chaos and causing danger to bikers and people walking. Bring back the last option or something like it that's far more in line with the neighborhood. What is even the benefit anyway? Most of the space is just going to support a couple corporate behemoth chains that further hurt our local economy, and no housing to help keep our area stable and to increase foot traffic and walkability, which further supports local neighborhood business and get more to move in. I know that our neighborhood organization is supporting this, but please know that they do not speak for a huge portion of this neighborhood, probably the silent majority, who disagree with their opinions but don't have time for politics. Almost every person I've talked to about this project who lives in the neighborhood is against it, so please don't consider a few people to speak for the rest of us. There's a reason this project needs a million variances. It's because it's not right for this area. Would be a slap in the face for those of us who have lived in the neighborhood for years. Take that design to Henrietta, it will fit perfectly. That letter I just read comes from Jason and Keisha Geller. Zoning Board, I strongly object to the proposed project 235, 237, 239, 245 North Winton, and 650 and 668 Blossom Road. I feel the traffic in our area is enough and don't wish to see it increase. Also, I do not wish to see our property values decreased by the implementation of this proposal. Please add my objection to all those that feel as I do. That letter came from Marilyn Kelly, Kelly Living Trust, 65 Gale Terrace. And the next one comes from Michael Santini. Hello, and project, he lists the address. His address is 52 Marion Street. Thank you for the opportunity to provide comment on the proposed project at 235, 237, 239, and 245 North Whitten Road, and 650-656 and 668 Blossom Road. I am a homeowner and resident in North Whitten Village, and I live on Marion Street near Blossom Road in close proximity to the proposed project. I am writing to express my opposition to the current design of the project. Specifically, I am opposed to the following. Starbucks. The suggestion is that the proposal is the proposal that the inclusion of a drive-through at a busy intersection will result in minimal impact on neighborhood is misleading. The placement of a drive-through at that location will exacerbate the existing high volume of traffic at the Blossom Road, North Winton Road intersection. Moreover, the project is described as pedestrian friendly. A project that will contribute to an increase in traffic at an already congested intersection is not pedestrian friendly. Rather, it has the potential to be hostile to bike and foot traffic. Furthermore, as a resident who lives on a neighboring street that already experiences high volume and at times excessive speeds, the traffic patterns that will be created by the drive-through have the potential to exacerbate the issue. I am especially concerned that many people who will be unable to make a left turn onto Blossom Road out of the drive-through at peak hours will instead make a right-hand turn and use the nearest side roads instead. Given the number of coffee shops already in existence in the neighborhood, I am opposed to the addition of the Starbucks. There are 4 coffee shops, all within 1 mile from the proposed Starbucks, 0.2 miles, 0.4 miles, 0.5 miles, 0.6 miles. I do not see the benefit of another coffee shop in the neighborhood, particularly a chain restaurant that has the potential to negatively impact locally owned businesses. The Well Now Urgent Care, a chain store version of an urgent care, is not consistent with the character or architecture of the neighborhood. I have serious concerns over the number of chain store retailers that are inundating the corner of Blossom and North Winton Road. This is not consistent with promoting small local business and is detrimental to the overall atmosphere in the North Winton Village. Commercial office space, although the proposed North Winton Road frontage is consistent with the character of the neighborhood, the inclusion of the office space at a time when many businesses are exploring more work from home options does not seem to be the best use of the space, especially given the amount of available office space for rent lease in the area. In the event the space is used for retail businesses, I would like to know whether the plan is to rent the space to small local businesses or additional chain stores. The previous proposals for mixed-use development that include housing as well as commercial businesses are more appropriate for that space and future of the neighborhood. Overall, the proposed project is much more suitable for a suburban development project rather than an urban village. Thank you for your time and consideration. And again, the letter I just read came from Michael Santini of 52 Marion Street. And that is all of the additional written comment that came in since the staff report went live. So Chris, you can go ahead and move the first person over. We'll hear the folks that are here for oral testimony.
Thanks,
Thank
Matt.
you for reading those, Matt.
I'm going to bring in actually Bryce Miller, who's the first person on our public feedback list. Bryce is with us now. He should be coming in.
Okay,
Hello, everybody. How are you?
good. How are you doing today, Bryce?
Good, very good. Thank you.
Let me swear you in and we can get started. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you are about to give in this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Yes.
All right, 3 minutes. The floor is yours.
All right. Hi, my name is Bryce Miller. I am the vice chair of North Winton Village Association. I am also the president of NEMU, or Northeast Maine Neighbors United. Over the last several years, the North Winton Village Association and our board have worked tirelessly to work with the developer, first with Aldi's, we were in fully support of after several years of going back and forth and making a perfect project. The developers have also been very on top of keeping the neighborhood informed on what they're looking for with this current project. They have been it's been very encouraging working with them as far as requests that we've had of them and input that we have had. Obviously, we're known to be a neighborhood that has an opinion, especially our association, and they've been very cognizant of making sure that they listen to us. They've added different facades, more landscaping. They've been great. As far as Starbucks is concerned, as a resident here of 14 years, I couldn't be more excited that a company like Starbucks is noticing a neighborhood like North Winton Village, which is making all kinds of national news recently over just where our neighborhood is coming and where it's gone. I couldn't be more proud of our boards, our volunteers in the neighborhood who aren't always mentioned, but I want to give a big shout out to them who work on our gardens. They work on our beautification, our crime, everybody who comes together to make North Winton Village what it is. And I'm in full support of Starbucks. I'm in full support of having that drive-through. Quite frankly, we talk about traffic. I'm happy to see the Monroe County DOT, what they've come out with. I think also we're very spoiled in Rochester for metro areas as far as traffic is concerned. So I'm not very concerned about, the traffic that it may or may not cause. I don't think it's going to be a huge detriment. I think it's going to be a great use for many people in the neighborhood. especially as we currently have lost recently another coffee shop on East Main Street near Winton Road, which was heartbreaking. But like I said, overall, I'm in full support. I think Starbucks is a great company. They tend to go into nice areas, and obviously I've noticed North Winton Village. Well, now it will be great to have a place to be able to have medical right in the neighborhood. It will be convenient, not only convenient, even for health consciousness. It's very good to have someone in the neighborhood if there's ever a medical issue or emergency. It's just nice to be able to get where you have to go. And as far as the other building, I certainly hope to see some great tenants in that building. Obviously, we don't know who they are going to be yet, but I do think it will fit in great with the neighborhood as far as where we're at, as far as the building design and which not. I just can't say better things. I think the neighborhoods work very hard with the developers. We've gotten to have a great relationship. I know Browncroft, I don't want to speak for them, but I know they've been in support of this project. North Winton Village has been in support of this project. North of East Main Neighbors United is in support of this project. All the major neighborhood associations in the area are definitely in support of this. And like I said, I couldn't ask for anything more. I think everything has been great, and I certainly hope that we can break ground and get going on this project. Thank you.
Thanks, Bryce. I think Matt could buy you coffee for saying those nice things. So we appreciate it, man. You have a good night, okay?
Yeah, you too. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Chris, who do we have next?
Next up, we have Mary Coffey. So Mary is with us now.
Mary, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. If you're on a phone, it's *6.
I think she's actually on Zoom. She's just muted.
Okay.
I do without you.
Okay.
I'm unmuted.
Hi, Mary. How are you? Long time no see.
Good. I thank you.
It's good to hear from you.
I must tell Jim, I've never had a cup of coffee either.
I think we know what the trend is. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
So Jim and I will have to go with David to Starbucks and he can get the cup of coffee. First of all, I want to thank you all for your dedication and your volunteer work and all you do. And we too are all volunteers in North Winton Village. And as you know, if anybody knows us, so we've been at this for a long, long time.
Let me swear you in first. Let me swear you in.
All
and
right.
You get going. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
And yes, I do.
And I've also forgot. Can you just state your address for the record?
Mary Coffey, Coffey, 170 Corwin Road.
The floor is yours. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. And in our time of doing North Winton Village and turning it around, I know Bryce has thanked a lot of people, but we never could have done it without our RPD, which helped us when we said, drug dealers, no, you're not going to be here. And also with the many departments at City Hall that helped us through the years with code and that. So it was a real union of government, police, and citizens together, which makes us what we are today. But we also realized as we were doing it that you're as good as your corridors. And the corridors are vital to the existence and the quality of life of a neighborhood. And I have nothing but praise for our businesses, especially those that stayed when we were going through the turmoil of turning the North Winton Village around, who never left, and also for the new businesses coming in. And we're very fortunate. So we have a Businessmen's Association too, and John Corcosa from Salvatore's has had they work with us too. So we are together as a whole. We might not always agree, but we work together. So we find that we've gone through a lot, and Bryce has said it, for this development on Winton Road. And it was very disheartening when we lost the first one, but we survived, and here we are. And I understand what people say about urban villages, and we try our best. And we've worked with every developer that's come into this neighborhood, from ESNL to CVS, to build their buildings up front. Well, CVS, that unfortunately someone slipped that through, but our buildings up front, like an urban village, and Matt has done that. He's also has done the roofscape, put on brick, and has made it look more like an urban village. Also, he's put awnings on the buildings, and is working hard to get that look, which we are very appreciative, and we've worked very hard with him on this. So, and you're speaking about the lighting too. You know, we also would have loved to see decorative lighting, but all of a sudden the cost of everything has gone up real high. So it's been a long time coming. It's built in an urban village atmosphere, and who mentioned the landscaping, I think that was you again. This is vital. You dress the lady up. You put on beautiful plants, flower around, trees, and we have a beautiful complex. And when you come to Starbucks, you know what? It's a national firm that has recognized Rochester. And we need more national firms, and we must protect our home businesses, but we need national firms, big national firms, to come into this city and fill some of our empty factories and that, because our people need jobs. So all in all, this is a benefit not only to North Winton Village, but to the city of Rochester and the people of the city of Rochester. So after saying that, I must say I am completely in support of this, and I thank everyone who helped make North Winton Village what it is today. And Matt, do us proud. Make this an outstanding development that everybody will come and see. Make us proud, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate you, and thank you and Bryce, because we couldn't do what we do if we didn't have strong neighborhood associations. So we appreciate everything that you all do. I think that will conclude all of our.
I think there's one more person.
There is one more. Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Marilyn. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said two for some reason.
Yeah, there were three. I apologize. In the beginning, I did say two. So the last public speaker tonight is Marilyn Schutte, or Shoot. I'm not sure. I believe it's Schutte. Marilyn should be with us now.
Hi, Marilyn. Are you with us?
Where? Yeah, we're trying to get in. What do you do?
Here.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Oh, you can. Oh, you can. Okay. I'm Marilyn Schutte.
There we go.
Co-chairman.
There, the camera's coming. There we go.
Okay, great. You can hear me.
It's
so
good
anyway,
to see you all.
Well,
thank you. Marilyn, is it just you, or you have someone else with you?
Well, it's me. I have two other neighbors sitting right here, and my daughter.
Oh, okay. So you'll be the only one speaking, correct?
But I'm the only one speaking, right?
Okay. Okay. Let me swear you in, and then we'll get started. So, do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Yes.
And can you just state your address for the record?
40 Corwin, Corwin Road.
Okay. The floor is yours. Go right ahead.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to invite all of you zoning board members to come over to Starbucks. And I see Starbucks, even though as the gentleman on Gale Terrace is talking about it being a chain, I thoroughly understand what he's saying. But I do see Starbucks as being kind of a neighborhood place where people will walk to, ride their bikes. We're very much a walkable community, and it gets more and more and more that way every day. That's why we work so hard to beautify it, to make it pleasant, to be in the neighborhood, to make it a safe community. And our businesses, I would say, are thriving businesses because the neighborhood does support it. And I would like to also make a comment about somebody said about Starbucks causing people to come. Well, what's interesting is once people are in that, come to sit in the Starbucks restaurant and all, you know, the beauty of it is they will then probably go out, they'll walk across the street, they'll go to Mayor's, they may go downstairs, down the street to our Balsam Bagels. They may walk over to Aldi's, they may go to CVS. It's kind of a place centralized at that, you know, other businesses will also profit. And it's, you know, in our neighborhood, we have our post office, we have our library, we have our grocery stores, and a lot of people walk to these places. So I don't see it as truly just a issue that some of the people were talking about, the traffic and so on. I don't see that as an issue. And of course, the county is absolutely okay with the way it's planned. And I think our developer did everything he could to make it as positive as he could make it. I am very pleased with the developer, how he did have Starbucks positioned where it is. So it's not going to be that noticeable of a situation. And like Mary commented, we have spent so much time, and the city has really worked with us. The committee that works on the site plan review committee, I know we listened to the Zoom meeting that time, and it was absolutely beautiful how they agreed with North Winton Village. We were thinking the same thing. We insisted on a brick building, you know, those that are in the front facing Winton, and that it looked in design like our Mayor's Hardware, which is one of our cardinal early 1900s brick commercial buildings. And you have no idea what this development looked like before all of us worked on it. I mean, it's unbelievable how we got the brick building. We got the entrance from the sidewalk into the front of the WellCare building and the mixed use. Anything to make it neighborhood friendly, because that's the whole idea in this neighborhood. We're not a suburban area where you run your car here and there and you don't pay attention to anything else but shopping. We have to have the look. And I'm very pleased with Matt and the city in terms of how it is going to look. It's fitting in with Mayor's across the street and with all our other early 1900s brick commercial buildings. So I think we are definitely for it. I want you to know I've lived here since 1976, and it has been a constant issue of the use of that property. I swear it's been for sale all these years. And like Betsy mentioned about all of these recent, probably in the last, 5 or 8 years, all these different developments. And we absolutely met many times with other developers and said, absolutely no, because it had that look of suburbia. And there's no way we want to look that way. I feel that this development, I mean, we were very disappointed about the Aldi's. We worked very hard on the design of that, but that did not work out in the favor of the neighborhood. So this development is, I think, absolutely fine. We'll live with the drive-through. I do not think it's going to cause a problem. CVS, as you see, we ended up with a drive-through over there. So this is not the end of the world. And for the betterment of the neighborhood, and I think this project is certainly positive.
Thank you, Marilyn. We appreciate you, and thanks for being with us. And hope to
And
see
the
you.
other thing is that it's very important. I like the idea of the WellCare facility. That's going to be very positive for people in this neighborhood to be able, or you know, the neighborhood and other areas of the city, you know, that are close by, to be able to go there. So that's very positive. And with the mixed use building, we have all kinds of opportunities for neighborhood type businesses. I mean, that's the whole idea of what we want. So I think that's also very positive. And this Starbucks will be kind of a meeting ground. Like I said, we'll invite all of you over, and then you can walk the neighborhood and enjoy all of the stores and what we've been trying to do here with all the flower pots, the beautification. I just finished a whole day working with an accounting firm for United Way, and they were thrilled to help in our gardens just to give the look. So it's really a community we're talking about here. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. We appreciate it. Appreciate you being with us, and it's good to hear from you. Thank you for all you do for the community. So we heard how great Matt Lester was, so we appreciate that. Betsy, do you want to rebut you or Matt any of the testimony, or do you want us to just close it up? You guys could close it up.
I think we're good.
Okay,
We're good.
Great.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Matt. Matt, great job, Matt. Everyone just loves you, Matt. You're just
it takes an army.
So
there's a lot of work. The neighborhoods have been great. I just want to compliment the neighborhoods in Northwind Village and Browncroft. They've been nothing but gracious and embraced our efforts, and we hope to be successful here. So, thank everyone tonight.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks, Evan. Thanks, Betsy and Dean. Betsy, we always love seeing you come to zoning board. We appreciate it. So
nice to see you.
Thanks a lot.
We're going to close case number 3.
Yep, and that will conclude the hearing for tonight. We will jump into deliberations. I'm going to make an assumption people need like 2 minutes. Holly, I'm looking at you.
Actually, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
okay.
we're good. I think
Okay.
I was trying to have this be my shortest zoning meeting, but it didn't happen. But maybe I'll get there. I was trying to beat a record.
No worries. All right, give us like 1 minute, and everyone can stay on the Zoom call, of course, but we'll switch the stream over on YouTube. We'll go